Everybody, welcome to the ServiceNow Star. You go to place for ServiceNow demo. On today's session, we'll talk about the control attestation. It's a very vital and important topic, ladies and gentlemen. You might have a goal to increase your compliance management efficiency. From my experience, you can definitely increase your efficiency on control attestation definitely by 75% because normally this control attestation can be sent by email or it can be sent using different disintegrated platforms. But when it comes to ServiceNow, it has a very good functionality when it comes to attestation. Controllers and owners will get a notification directly. They can go to the platform to attach the evidence and then also respond the controls. Okay, so that's something you can achieve. Now, what we're going to cover on this today's session is we'll talk about the definition, what an attestation is, what is the purpose, why attestation need to be sent out, how to set it up, control life cycle. This is like overall control from creation of a control to all the way to the retire. We'll talk about that, and also how often you can send out attestation from the control. So attestation frequency, that's something very crucial also to cover. Okay, at the end I'll have a demo from the platform. I'll go ahead and show you these all features directly on the ServiceNow instance. Okay, without any delay, let's talk about what are control attestations. Now, these attestations are literally they're a survey, okay? They're a survey. It's a method of data collection to show that your control has been effectively implemented or not implemented, okay? It can be either of the results. If it is implemented, that means your control is in compliant, okay? Compliant. But if it is not implemented, your control is not compliant. Okay, in any way you are collecting an evidence, okay, a data collection evidence using the survey tool, ServiceNow functionality to collect an evidence for your control implementation. Okay, now this attestation is literally helpful to utilize to present your overall compliance report of your organization, because for a given package, authorization package, you have a boundary, right? For that boundary you could have controls. So now on those controls, how many of them are compliant, how many of them are non-compliant? So you'll have a percentage of overall compliance. Okay, right. Now, how to set it up? To set it up, you need to have either a compliance manager role or a compliance administrator role, or the admin can go ahead and set it up for you. There are a lot of out-of-the-box attestation out of the box, like the GRC attestation, very common one, IT controls, and also privacy controls. So these are few of the control attestations that are you can leverage, but definitely you can use the attestation designers to go ahead and create or also have these control attestations generated. Now, what are control life cycle? Okay, control it can be either on a draft state, a test state, review state, monitor, or retired state. When a given control is in a draft state, that's the state where you go ahead and make any modification to the control. Okay, that's the draft that can be generated from the control objective directly, and you can modify implementation statement and so on. You can add to it. Then from there you move to a test state. Okay, a test state, that's the time you'll select the attestation that's going to be sent out, who's going to respond. All of that needs to be done under a test. Okay, once that's done, when the attestation is completed, it will move to the review state. Okay, compliance manager will go ahead and review that attestation, and then at the end it will goes to monitor state. Okay, monitor means like your attestation is in a monitor state. Now I'll show you in a little bit here how often you can send an attestation, but in a monitor state, that's the state where if you have a frequency set it up, it will send out automatically your attestation. Okay, now control can also be retired. Okay, if you have a given control, it may not be no longer required, so you can go ahead and retire it. All right, now scheduling an attestation, you can do it easier from the entity level or also you can do it in a control level. If you did it in control level, anything that you have on the entity level will be overridden by your control level. Okay, I'm talking about mainly here the frequency. All right, now attestation respondent will get a notification directly, and they will have 14 days to respond for a given attestation. Right, now the frequency of an attestation, it can go out again from the monitor state, depending on, for example, if you do it in a weekly basis, that attestation will go out if your control is in a monitor state. You can also send a given attestation manually by just making it first to a draft state, reverting it to a draft state, and then you can click attest. Okay, two ways you can send an attestation. Now let's go ahead and do a couple of demo here. All right, let me show you some of the attestation that has been published by ServiceNow out of the box. You can leverage. There's a GRC attestation, NIST CSF analysis attestation. So these are different kinds of attestation type you can use. The very commonest one is the GRC attestation. Okay, I have that control. You see it. It is, the name is vulnerability scanning. That's the entity or the boundary that you have. Now this control currently in a draft state, and it was compliant, and it's gonna be, the frequency is an annual base, like every year it will go ahead and send a new attestation. But now today we'll go ahead and, because it's in a draft state, we'll go ahead and manually send out an attestation. All right, now we have already selected the attestation, which is NIST RMF risk assessment attestation, and the respondent will be Susan or Wells. Okay, let me go ahead and click attest. As I do that, there are required fields that I need to populate. It can go ahead and show me that. Now upon clicking attest, right, upon clicking attest, you see that it created one attestation. Okay, it's automatically create one attestation, and it will send out to Susan or Wells, and Susan or Wells will go ahead and take care of that attestation. She will have a 14 days to respond to this attestation. Okay, now let me go ahead and actually impersonate Susan or Wells. Let's go ahead and impersonate. Okay, now upon impersonating, there's a workspace I can go ahead and use. All right, so what you have right here is that CAM workspace. I'll go ahead and open the CAM workspace, and under right here there is task, to my pending tasks. Actually, under the pending task, you see that there's control attestation. Okay, yes, NIST RMF, that is the one, the most recent one, the vulnerability scanning. She'll go ahead and open. Susan will open this assessment instance. Now this assessment instance has questions on it. Okay, when she's ready, she can go ahead and review actually the metrics type, it's ready to take, and so on. Now she can take a look at by clicking take assessment. Okay, upon clicking that, is this control in place to ensure risk assessment is given for information system? Okay, it's a choice, yes or no. Now upon saying yes, I'll go ahead and attach an evidence, but I want to go ahead and no. Now at this time I will only need to explain. Let's put a test right here. Is control in place to ensure risk assessments given periodically? I'll say no, we didn't give, so I have to explain it. Okay, I'm just gonna put test right here to move quickly. Is this control in place to ensure there are security categories in place? I'll just know, and then I'll say test. Okay, upon doing that, if I go ahead and submit this control, what's going to happen here is the control will fail, and also it will go ahead and create. Okay, users view. I'm going to review my response. These are my response. Okay, now if I go ahead and end my impersonation from Susan, end impersonation, let me go ahead and refresh. Okay, that's Susan. I'll go ahead and end impersonation. Okay, now let's go back to my history. I'm gonna go from my history control, the vulnerability scanning. Now you'll see that it's currently in review, and you see that the status is non-compliant. Now if I scroll down right here, an issue is automatically generated, and why? If you go ahead and open it, the issue, you will definitely see that it is created because program has delivered has an assessment failure. Okay, so that is configured out of the box for you. That automation is there for you. It really a time saving. So whenever a control fail, attestation is respondent response wasn't like an implementation. So it will go ahead and create that for you, and then you will go ahead and work to remediate this one. Okay. You have a policy exception. If you have a remediation task, you can go ahead and create a remediation task for this issue to go ahead and fix it. Okay. All right. Now that really covers this part. Now the second part I'm gonna go ahead and show you is about the frequency. Okay, it's non-compliant review. Okay, upon its review, it will go ahead and stay like that. Okay, now the second important part is the frequency. How often this attestation can be sent out? You can do it two ways. Okay, the first one is on the control level, right here. Now this one is annually. Annually, a new survey will send out to who? To Susan Orwells, who is the respondent. Okay, annually. But the control, which is this control, must be in a review state, just like that. Okay, in monitor states. In monitor states. Okay. All right. That's the first thing. And the second one is from the entity level. Now, here is my entity program hasty. If I open this entity right here, I will also apply a frequency on this. So now, from the entity level, you can apply a frequency as well that can be reflected all the control objectives across the board. Okay. But one thing I want to mention here is that if you have, um, all right, let me show you. That's compliance right here. Attestation frequency. That's where it is. Okay. Here compliance attestation frequency. Here we go. All right. Currently is 0%, which is compliance score is 0%. You should work on this one. There are that many downstream controls that need to be worked. Okay. Here we go. All right, so that pretty much takes us to the conclusion of this video. We'll come back with another session with another detail, which is the new feature that ServiceNow added. We'll do another session on control at the requirement level. That's going to be coming up for another session. Up until